Okay. To the Finance and Budget Committee of the Children's Services Council of Leon County. So Kira, or
can you repeat that? Can you repeat that, Mr. Mitchell? Because
happy to. Hello, everyone. It is 1:02, and I would like to welcome you to the Finance and Budget Committee of the Children's Services Council of Leon County. First on our agenda is the roll call. Kira, could you call roll?
Okay, Miss Allie Richardson.
Here.
Richards, I'm sorry. Mr. Brent Johnson. Mr. Brent Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Rocky Hanna. Mr. Darrell Jones. Mr. Paul Mitchell.
Here. We have a quorum. Very nice. 3 out of the 5 of us. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Chairman would like to move approval of the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Ms. Richards. I have a motion and a second. Without objection, show the agenda approved. Item 4 is general public comment. We have any public comments here?
No, sir, no public comment.
Very nice. Seeing this, yes, ma'am.
For public comment, I would like to ask Mr. Grayson and Ms. McPhail to introduce our youngsters.
I
Or
like
in
to
the
do a public
office.
comment. I was going to insist they
You're
get
gonna
up
make
here for a
them do
little
public
public
comment, you
comment.
should make them do that.
Yeah, go ahead and take Peter.
Sorry.
Good afternoon. Chris Joseph is here with me. From Senior Coaching.
And where are you from?
and good afternoon. We have with us 2 of our student interns through the CSC internship program. Mr. Halden Urich, he is a incoming freshman at FSU, planning to study political science history.
History and economics.
History and economics. I keep trying to sway him in political science, apparently. So that's like the 3rd time I think I've said that. My bad. And he is our special project intern, helping actually assist run our internship program. And Mr. Joe Donis Avalas Jr., affectionately known as JJ, he is a rising senior at Leon and is our marketing intern. You're a rising junior? I'm just getting it all wrong. I just thought you were older, JJ. My apologies. Rising junior at Leon.
So I know where JJ is from. Going to Leon. That answers that question.
I'm also from Tallahassee.
Okay, very nice. Well, welcome to all 3. Any more general public or internal public comment? Item 5 is the review of the financials for May of 2026. Ms. Richards, you were not here when I made this commitment, but I want to, because of the way our calendar falls, it looks like we're a month off on financials. We're not. We're always going to be, what will come to the budget finance committee will be the last month we have it, which will reflect usually about 30 days behind. But I'm saying that once, never to be said again, and never to be asked again. I may say it again, but I will never do it to catch up because we are caught up. Sika, if you could kind of walk us through May, and we have Mr. Grayson here in case anyone has questions that Sika or I cannot answer.
Sure, so I am going to ask that you look at page 3, which is our balance sheet. Nothing out of the ordinary there. You will see that specific importance under accounts receivable is the repayment plan by our community investment partner that we entered into a repayment plan that is up to date and swimmingly, if I may. All of our information is there, so there's nothing out of place there. If we go to page 4, you'll just see the income and expense report showing when things came in, when things came out, during the time from October through May. And then if we move to page 6, it is our overall actuals versus our budget of particular importance. And I think definitely is of importance as we get into the ad valorem collections and looking at trend, is looking at our ad valorem proceeds. We'll see we're at 98.4% of our projected proceeds, and we are in May. So we still got June, July, August, and September. And we always underestimate our interest, and you'll see that we are at 227% of interest. If we go down to
Still on page 6, right?
we're on page 6, so if we go down to 50/40 collection expenses, if you recall, we had not previously been getting invoices from the property appraiser's office. We did start getting those invoices this year, and so you will see we're at about 101%. This is one of the items that will be contained in the draft budget amendment that we will review here shortly. Great. And then if we go down to 50/50, you'll see we're at 113%. This will also be in a budget item. And the reason for that is we transitioned from just these 3 categories to 2 categories. So in the coming budget, cell phones go away. We are now exclusively using internet, voice over IP, and then the virtual platform. But in the process, we had to pay and flip. So that's why you're seeing that over a little bit, but that will be in the budget amendment as well. And then under occupancy, you will see that's number 5090. You'll see that it's currently at 138. That's because we're reporting the breakout from the CSC and the FRC, but in our budget, we only budget for CSC. However, as we talked about last month, the FRC is reflected in program expense, but it is shown here. So that's why it looks like it's over budget, but actually it is not. And I will
See, let me ask just real quickly, again, going,
those are the only areas.
the FRC rent. Who actually makes the payment, FRC rent? We do or they do, or Children's Home Society,
So because the rent is here,
right?
it is reduced from there. So they are making the payment.
But we actually physically make the payment
Yes.
and take it off of
Yes.
their allocation.
Yes.
Okay, that's all right. Okay.
And Mr. Grayson,
I got one comment question if I can. I'm wondering, I know we've done this several times, but the budget amendment, but when you look at something like 50/50, the total budget,
Mhm.
okay, that's all right. I'm just wondering when we go to these sub accounts and start doing different stuff, I wonder if we can just look at the major account.
I see what you're saying.
Right, I mean.
So when we get to the budget amendment,
Okay.
John, if we could talk about it
Okay.
there, only because this was a quirky year.
Okay,
So next year it's budgeted properly because we are fully transitioned. And so we had to end up paying Zoom when now we're fully on Zoom. So some of that is contained in cell phones because that's where it was budgeted originally, but we don't have cell phones. So yeah, it'll make sense.
John, if I were looking at our overall and I wanted to see from an administrative cost perspective, what is the CSC's administrative cost? The FRC is not. That's a contract we have. This $78,000 for rent for the, pardon me, $73,000 for rent for the FRC would actually show up in our budget, right? So if you were looking at it, would it show as CSC cost or would it show as FRC cost?
I think it would show as a CSC cost, or it would be under a program payment line.
I want to be consistent.
We've got this thing under program payment called Family Resource Center.
Right.
I think it should be captured there.
So what I thought we were doing is when we pay the invoice, we pay the whole invoice to the company, but John and Dina submits the invoice, she submits it and shows CSC's portion of the invoice and FRC's portion of the invoice, which allows him to put them in the category.
At the end, right, and I'm, it's fine how it's listed. I want to know at the end, when you're looking at the final tally. This is, this $73,000 is not part of an administrative cost to run the CSC. And I want to make sure it doesn't show up as an administrative cost with the CSC.
And my response to the question is, do you want me to move that to a program line under FRC at the bottom?
But isn't it already there? I bet it's in both places.
It's not in
It's
both
not.
for the purposes of the planning.
Okay, but
However, when we give you that program spreadsheet
right,
and it shows you what has been expended for program, it is contained.
okay, all right.
When John walked in and he said, I have that report ready for you that I send to the county every quarter, part of it is showing the administrative expense, it is not calculated. That's what I-
Okay.
I'm guessing there's only one landlord tenant
Exactly.
rental contract in any box,
Right,
but we allocate that rent expense on a square footage basis or some other basis, and that we charge that as an expense of the FRC as a program expense. It's just not reflected in the QuickBooks report that's out here.
and that, I am totally consistent. I mean, I just want to make sure, to anybody who might be in the audience listening or anyone online listening, when it comes to calculating true administrative costs, don't care how other CSCs do it, we need to be consistent, and that is not part of the CSC's administrative costs. It is part of a contract we have with the Children's Services.
And that is contemplated in our budget development
Okay.
and reflected in the draft budget.
Okay. So as long as that's how it's, at the end of the day, that's how we calculate it, I'm totally good. Any other, thank you.
I just had one quick comment, and I think must just be a quirk, but back on page 3 in the balance sheet, that accounts receivable from Scientia, that's showing as a credit accounts receivable balance, which means they've overpaid, and I don't know. Just looking, I'm not wanting to slow the roll here, I'm just saying that they still owe us 21, so that would be a debit.
I look at it, it's just going on.
But remember, right?
It shouldn't be a negative number on that.
Which is why I think that, is it Holden or Holden?
Holden.
Holden. I think Holden should be a finance major and not an economics major, right? Just for what it's worth. Advice I gave my 33-year-olds, I really ignored. Any other questions, Mr. Thompson?
No, you're
Yes.
Financial to the large.
Very nice. If I could get a motion. I have a motion and a second to recommend bringing the financials for May 2026 to the full committee meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Showing. Well, any opposed? No. Okay. Show that approved. This brings us to the budget amendments, which I know CB touched on a little bit, but Now you're gonna go into
Yeah.
a little more specific.
Sure. So,
If we start with the why.
with the why, because you all directed me at the last meeting to go ahead and do the budget amendment at the recommendation of our accountant. Felt like we should do it so that we are in line. We've done budget amendments twice. We did not do one last year and we did not do one before, but we did the first 2 years. And I think we did it because we did it. When I saw we were a few percentages, listen, I'm the one. I saw we were a few percentages over and I wanted to make sure. We were up. So that's why we did this, because it was a direct.
Was it? I don't know, I'm sure, but what's the year before? We can do one the year before.
I don't think so.
In terms of the why, is there a, CSC rule that gives us a threshold if we're over budget? Do we need to make a budget amendment, or we're just administratively doing cleanup if we know we're going through a budget?
Administratively,
That helps.
there is
I just
no,
couldn't remember the details on.
there's no
on the
mandate.
line.
Okay, so on your large piece of paper, the first 4 pages are the proposed budget amendment. And so you'll see in column 1, that's our approved budget per resolution last year. The actuals are through May in the second column, and then the proposed amendment is the last column. So there are 3, 4, 5 areas that I'm proposing we amend. So the first is on page 1 under collection expense. So we have budgeted 271. We're actually at 276. So through extrapolation, I am estimating we could be at 372. And those are our required fees to Leon County Tax Collector and Property Appraiser's Office. And our original budgeted amount was our ad valorem collection times 3%. We are actually closer to 4%. So that is the suggested change.
But you know, this is not what I want to talk about, so I want to, I think if we don't, are we gonna take these one at a time or just collectively?
However you would like
Do
to
you all have any questions? I certainly only have comments, and that's not appropriate at this time, so,
Sure.
okay, we'll do it all together. Any questions on the collection fees?
So the collection fees are driven off what we now believe to be the proceeds, which we
So-
believe to be 9.3, which has got a little bit of this in it.
And it could be higher, when looking at, so if you go back in the financials and look at the money
We don't control it,
that
but
comes in, we don't control it, so I like got rid of the high, got rid of the real low, and looked at the middle and did that. That's just an estimate, but yes, that amount is based on that collection.
so are you proposing that related to the 25-26 budget that you're gonna ask for an increase in the ad valorem proceeds to 9.3 million as part of that adjustment, or are you only looking at expense lines that are part of the amendment that you're wanting us to review and approve?
So I felt like it would be prudent to try to estimate what the income would be in order to get to this collection.
So we're kind of approving both. Right?
So you are approving both, and I should have highlighted that line. I could have left it the same, but when I look at our actual. And remember, I was an English major, I know math, but I was an English major and this.
Both are good. I think, I would have called you. These both are good.
I'm just,
I will say this, and this is not an announcement that in 2 years my name will appear on a ballot, but if it ever does, it will only be to pass one law and then I will resign. This is just not right. Okay, so, go on to the next one.
So if we.
You guys
look-
wanna run a campaign?
If we flip the page, go to page 2, under communication, you will see that I have adjusted for that overage in communication, given the transitions that we made. So that's what that adjustment is there. The Zoom licenses, we paid $668 and we won't pay any more on those. So in the new budget, that line, that virtual platform line goes away. So that's what I'm suggesting there, and it just right size. Yeah. Under website maintenance, again, in the new budget, we won't have a website maintenance line because that comes under managed IT. Mr. Grayson flipped back our budgeted amounts. So in the April one, it looks like we're over, but technically we're not. That being said, though, the website maintenance is contained within managed IT and should really just go away. That's what I'm suggesting there.
So, okay, so of all the amendments, this seems to be one that is a real amendment. It's not just kind of making it look good at the end of the year. This is by virtue of the fact that website maintenance is in the managed IT budget, if we don't need a line for it, and, okay.
I also really tried to align it with where we're going to be in the new year, and that's basically what this is doing.
The $7,000 though would include the $1,500.
Yes.
Okay.
And then under postage and courier, we always budget like $750, we're at 16. So I'm just suggesting, let's take it down to 250. We do not do a lot of first class mail, and we do.
I would say don't put yourself in a box for the last 5 months of the year for that kind of money.
Yeah,
You want to leave it the way it is?
like all of this, that's why I said, all of it is, will make it, at the end of every fiscal year, you miss on some and you, positive or negative. I know what you're trying to do, and I think that's, it makes you, like the OCD side of you, feel good. Let's go for it. If we're gonna do one, we should do all of them.
I will tell you, I think we did it at 500.
Yeah, that to me is more the conversation, so we're not amending anything next year, we have a budget, sometimes we'll go over, there will be an explanation for it. Yeah,
And then the very last one is on page 3, and it's mileage and tolls. And I do feel the need to amend this because previously we didn't, our team did not reimburse for mileage, and they should. They do a lot of movement. So I just want to right size that to 55, which is what we've projected in the coming year, so that we can. And that's it. Programming has no adjustments because, as you can imagine, with the way invoices come in.
Yeah.
And that's it.
so, we discussed each one of them individually, we would be moving the budget amendment, forward with the recommendation of the council to accept the budget. So if I could get a motion.
Could I ask one clarifying question? So I'm picking this up with all of 2 minutes or whatever benefit of looking through it. And so is it the highlighted yellow items that are part of the amendment?
So what will happen if this is passed by the larger governing council? This budget will be provided to John, and he will augment from this month moving forward.
The amended budget would then get loaded into your software, and any budget versus actual would be off the amended budget.
But I think you'll do with it well. The revenue
Yes,
and the
Yes.
blue and the yellow.
yes, the blue and the yellow, and then the auditors come to do their audit return. when they come and do their audit, they always ask us for the original budget and any budget.
Yeah, and here's what I'll say, we have a motion in a second, so that we're in a good place for this discussion. We're in July, the fiscal year ends September 30th. Like, let's stick with it. I don't care if we're, close your OCD ears, I have them too, but let's just stick with this. If we're over or above, over or under, we're okay. There are no glaring misses. If there is a miss, it is the collection fee, and that was no one's fault. It happened. Okay. So I have a motion and a second. Without objection, show that approved. We will move the budget amendment to the full council with a recommendation for approval. The next item is the review of the draft of that aforementioned 26-27 budget.
Okay, it will be paid 1 of 3, which is actually page 5.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Very good.
Because
I got you. All right. So that we have it, I think it's on the last page of the agenda packet. It has the yes. Okay. So this is the projected evaluation for 26-27, sort of expanded, but if you take this and go across here, they have, coordinating and numbers. So you want to dive right in? Well, the budget here, just kind of a quick overview. The budget, there's no real magic to the budget except by category of programs. And what Sija and Dina do is they take what are what seems to be the will of the council through our 5-year plan, or what is it called? The strategic framework, the SF, as they say in the industry. Anyhow, the strategic framework, they take that and they assign a dollar amount to each one of those areas. And they include in that commitments that normally we have more commitment blocks, but commitments, and they include those dollars in that category. There's nothing that that prohibits us from moving from one category to the next in January, if suddenly we have a strong interest in filling the blank and less of an interest in filling the blank. So these are really just good guesses. And over the last 5 years, I would say they have come in pretty close to accurate. Not ever perfect. There have been wild cards that members of the council have thrown staff, and I'll speak for myself, being responsible for some of those that were not included in the original budget, but we sort of contemplate that by having additional dollars that are not assigned. So that's the overview of the budget. It looks very much like last year's, few minor changes. The real focus is the page that I was directing your attention to, and that is helping us come up with what seems to be an appropriate millage rate, because once we know how much money we can spend, that we have to spend, it will make the categories, the assigned dollar amounts in each one of the categories that much easier to target. There isn't a huge difference from reducing the, well, there is a huge difference from rolling it back to aiming to collect, essentially the same we did this year to, maxing out at 0.5. But you can see the numbers as they roll across. It is, unless you get to, maxing it out, there is a huge increase one way or another. Okay, so that's my overview. You want to go into specifics? Is there
It
anything?
doesn't look much different from what was presented last month. And at the meeting, I think of, particular interest is under compensation and benefits. We roll that up the way that was requested, and so you see that there. I did just put a note about percentage. in the column. Same thing with, contracted services, just did the same thing there. But none of the substitute programming budget has changed at all. We did not hear anything from council members regarding any of these suggestions here. Again, keep in mind, we looked at what we have done, and more importantly, what strategic goals the council accepted, and ensuring that we are adequate there. But to Treasurer Mitchell's point, it is just a budget, and at any point, it can be changed and shifted. And I'll say, for example, I don't know if they're predicting an active hurricane season, but if we do something, if we need to do something, we can. Do want to bring to your attention on the last page, at the very bottom, you'll see a green line that says undesignated funds. And what that means is that funding is not put in any of these buckets. You use the structure. None of these buckets. It is there for use by the council for whatever reason. So really, it's just about determining where you want to be from a millage standpoint. Again, keep in mind that if you choose to go up to 0.375, that requires a unanimous vote, or I think for councils at 10 members or less, it's like 3/4 vote. And if you go all the way to 0.5, that's unanimous vote. And so we'll see at the top the percentage increases over what we currently have. So the other thing I'll say, and I put in the email last night, is with the legislation HJRF1, the formula for calculating rollback changed. And so they did allow for that in the portal. And so you'll see that the rollback rate from the last time we discussed this was 0.3309. It's actually increased to 0.3353. I had nothing to do with that. All I did was go in and look at what they put, and that's what we have. So the recalculation has been done in accordance with that. But there's nothing remarkable.
So if you're to try and make it easy, and Sika, I think you did a good job of helping us see in yellow where we are today. That's this year's budget, how much we've collected, how much we rolled over from the previous year. But kind of the key numbers to look at is that blue column. If, for example, we decide to roll back the rate to 0.3353, what we will have to spend this year is 13.55 million. If you compare that to what we had to spend in this current fiscal year of 10 million, again, that's not because we're raising so much more. In case anyone is listening, if we decide to roll back the rate, we are not raising taxes. It is money that we have left over from previous year and taking the cash that the taxpayer generals would give us and investing it so that we get a return. But those are the numbers sort of to follow in terms of what we as a council would have to spend. We left it at the rollback rate of 0.3353. You get to 13.56 million versus 13.55 9 million if we left it the same. And so on and so forth.
Are we just recommending these to the full board?
We are, well, yes. Yes and no. Yes, we can recommend whatever we want to the full board, and normally with a full count, with a full committee of 5, if all 5 of us were in agreement on something, we're halfway home, right? So with only 3, and in the past, we have, I think only 1 year have we made a recommendation for a military. What we,
And that very.
we did not. We just brought it to the full council with this statement. We can go anywhere from 0.0 to 0.5. So raise no money, raise $500,000. That's what the law allows us to do. We are only giving the 10 members of the council, partly the 9 members of the council, because the judge is not allowed to vote. 9 members of the council, the opportunity to see numbers on that scale. We didn't do anywhere from 0 to a rollback rate. So the rollback rate to the max is what we're giving, but there's nothing that would prohibit us from going to, if, let's just say that the rollback rate is 0.3353. Somebody said, you know, I like that, but is it a little bit more generous? How about 0.3354? There is nothing that says you can't do that. We were just giving you currently what we're assessing, which is 0.347, the rollback rate, which is 0.3353. The 0.35 was sort of a midway point in the past, so they just kept it. 0.375 is what we were originally at, and then 0.5 was the max.
Your point, should you want to calculate a different one?
Right.
Alright, look at
Mr. Johnson. The dance.
Okay. I will do everything I can to make these go quickly, but there are a couple of questions that I just wanted to make sure I understood, answers that I need to understand. So the assumptions in FRC funding, the program budget, are we, help me understand, are we anticipating in the way we're budgeting for FRCs an expansion of the number or services at existing FRCs?
So this budget contemplates what the FRC presented for the fall.
So
That's all
could
this
you
budget.
just hit me again with the notes on what that actually
So it
says?
would be continuation funding for the 2 FRCs that are currently on. Continuation funding for the 2 FRCs that are already in existence here at Cross Creek and Fort Brady, and a hybrid FRC and community outreach. Continuing in Brooklyn Heights.
Okay, that's good. There are 2 just line items that I would ask that you would check. In the health insurance line item, I'm just curious what portion of that healthcare increase is related to staffing increases and what would be related to just the increase in healthcare premium.
It's all
There is
No staffing
No staffing.
increase. And I'm not in the,
and Brown and Brown gave us that. That you,
for health insurance, it's the
it's a state.
national health plan, the state.
oh,
health
that's
plan.
State, I just wanted to make sure.
everybody's on that.
Because just my experience with CHP rates are there, it's not even a 10% increase, right?
It was pretty good this year. So ours renews every March.
Okay,
And
Alright. This is just I don't remember, I do remember last year having a presentation from our insurance carrier. I'm on the business insurance line item, there's a concept related to cyber insurance about whether your defense costs are within or outside the policy limits. And I just don't recall, how we find that. And I'm not asking for an answer now,
No,
but I would just say, I would like to understand what policy limits are related to cyber, so that we can have a little more informed discussion about what our risks are versus our levels.
I will pull that, but I believe if I remember correctly, our cyber policy, I feel like it's $1 million, $2 million, something like that.
Do we have any personal identifying information on any other than employees? Is there anything in our system that, I mean, cybersecurity is a real threat. It's only a real threat that becomes a very financially damaging threat if the wrong information gets out. Do we actually hold any information?
I thought we could have made a fundamental shift when we started capturing what I would call encounter data in SAMs.
I'm gonna let our Sandwich administrator speak to that, because she has, I don't think so.
So we absolutely do collect, personally identifying information in our services and activity management information system, which is what CMS stands for. They, through the collaborative, they do hold an insurance policy over that data, and we have protocols. Our collaborative between BAC, in essence, has coverage with WebAuthor. WebAuthor is the actual company that we contract with to have CMS. And
Hold on a second.
This is in the weeds, but
It is in
are
the
we an
weeds.
additional named insured on that policy?
I think we are.
Through that collaborative, we are.
And what would be the limits on that?
I don't know, but we will find out.
And again, I don't want to slow us down, but
I think it's a really big question, and it's, yeah.
this concept of within or outside of the limits of the policy for defense. Defense costs can eat up a lot of your policy limit. Anyway. That was 3. We have 2 council members that I wanted to make sure that we at least had a quick discussion on how we will respond to them about priorities that I heard loud and clear over the last meetings. One would be Council Member Vander Linden and behavioral health. I would just like to have her feel like we at least address behavioral health as something. I know we're not going to have a name and a vendor and all of that, but just to say, we have, beyond just going to the undesignated number and saying we can go to it, do we have any philosophy or strategy that we could at least run by her or even the council meeting to say, does this help address giving you a comfort level on behavioral health? I would say similarly, I've heard repeatedly from Councilmember Cummings about homelessness.
So normally I would say, sure, we will do that. In this short period of time, I think we would be doing a disservice to try to come up with something that adequately addresses what she is trying to achieve. What I believe does that is the adoption of that strategic goal. And so after speaking with her, I believe, now I'm not gonna talk to her, but I believe she has full confidence that we will come and work with her on programming. that
We also
helps that.
we did increase this is, but it's not a special needs program, which we're talking cut it from students with disabilities or children with disabilities. We get into behavioral health and how that impacts, but,
I think though, I mean, I'm glad you brought up both, Commissioner Cummings as well as, Austin, or Councilmember Vanderlin's, studies. Because here's how I've seen it. I kind of got both of your hats on. I think it would be silly between now and the council meeting to try to put something together. However, I do think it's a good idea if the council wants to direct, Sika and her team, get an RFI out on the street that says, but that, you know, that Councilmember Vanderlinden, because of her expertise in this area, helps us craft an RFI that seeks information on services for the targeted population she was referring to, which was, I think, between third, no, what it was?
10 and 16.
10 and 16, okay. The same thing with Commissioner Cummings. I do think that we have currently allocated what we had spent for homelessness. She wanted an extra emphasis on it, so we did that.
You showed me that, where is it? In programming?
It's in the dollar amount, it is in the FS,
Strategic goal.
Okay.
yes, the agreed SF, strategic framework.
Which is the one of those,
Uh,
driver.
The other important thing, especially of those two, is, I mean, I think an RFI goes out and says to the world, what do you got? What do you got for 10 to 16-year-olds in the mental health, behavioral health area? And then having, if there's something there, there's something out there that the council says, yeah, you know, yeah, I'm gonna look to Councilwoman Vanderlinden for her guidance on that. Then we put an RFP or an RFQ or something out on the street that says, we'd like these services. The same thing but in the budget, we have, yeah, we can go to zero, but even if we went to zero, but no, if we don't go to zero, let's just say the smallest amount proposed on here is the rollback rate. We will still have an enormous amount of money that isn't in any of Sika's proposed buckets where we can afford to do behavioral and behavioral health, but also homelessness. We start with homelessness with a big bucket already. You know, I know
Is
that.
that under housing stability, under family well-being?
So it's under a couple, because the homelessness that we're doing, so it's under, we have housing stability under youth development, and we have housing stability under,
Did we roll Making Havens happen,
we roll that into kindergarten.
so the $33,000 we gave them last year, is it in the budget for this coming year?
Because it goes through December, so it's in the budget for this coming year, but it's under kindergarten.
Okay, so it goes through December, but from January to September 30th of 2027, do we have anything allocated? Yeah, we have money, so I'm just curious, in this budget, anything allocated for that house manager? I mean, it was originally what, 100,000 or 90,000, and we gave them 30, and then it went back, and then it came back. Do you remember the numbers?
We do have very much.
In the
Under
actual,
housing stability, yeah.
okay,
We're doing it, so when we're talking about any homelessness, we're classifying it as housing stability. And so you'll see that housing stability is under family well-being, it's kindergarten readiness, and it's also under youth development. Because the money that we are providing is crossing those three.
but if I'm
Well-
doing, if I'm not the English major and I'm the math major, and I'm adding things up in the proposed budget that the council will be voting on, in that proposed budget is an allocation for, hang on, that's every one of these, family, oh,
Yeah, hold on. a
okay,
second. So under,
is it
go back
okay?
here. So we are now on page 2 of 3 under family well-being.
Okay.
Housing stability. That's emergency housing, family promise, refuge house, and family promise refuge house.
There's line item money for all of it. In the budget.
And then under kindergarten readiness, housing stability, that's emergency housing, Breon House, and Making Miracles is there. I didn't put it there, but Making Miracles is there. under kindergarten readiness.
Okay,
And
so wait, So again, I just want to make sure the numbers, not the
numbers.
but the numbers, what we budgeted for this year is on the far left. So if I'm going under, emergency housing, straight across, I don't,
Well, you won't see housing facility
Right.
under this year's budget, because that's not how it's classified. It was all classified under kindergarten readiness this year.
so is that where the 509 would be?
Yeah, the 509 is, hold on. Y'all got me.
Well, where we got that number, you're saying we got that number from taking this year's current budget, how we allocated it to these organizations.
Organizations and splitting it across the strategic framework.
Right.
And adding anything that came in. So when we're looking at family well-being, the 509, that contemplates the emergency housing that you all approved. That's in conjunction with the county, how we're doing that,
Right.
plus the transitional support program that you all approved. For
Yeah.
$163,000.
Okay,
It contemplates all.
okay, so basically, we are taking 25, 26, and we're moving it to 26, 27. Everything that we funded in 25, 26, including
Making miracles work now.
thank you, making miracles, is if I were to add up every check we wrote in 25, 26, and what is in the budget, not the unallocated, but in the budget, all of those were there.
Yes.
And in the case of making miracles, it's for the 34,000, 35, what was the?
33,000. 34,000.
Okay, all right, so. And that position, is that position $33,000 for a home manager for a year? Okay, so in this case, it will actually only be for 26, 27, because they're funded in 25, 26 through December. So it's really January through September.
Right.
At 33%, or 30, whatever.
Well, technically, it would be 33, yes.
Yeah, for the new.
You take 33 and divide it by 12 months. Now, to ease your consternation.
Yes,
Housing stability in each one of these areas contains everything we are currently funding
okay.
for next year.
And if we decide to
And
do
if you
more,
wanna do
we
more,
have extra
You
money.
can take it from the unallocated
Right.
fund
Okay,
or from something.
I'm keeping a tally in my head. I know we got the unallocated, I just want to make sure that everything that we funded this year is, okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry that we got off track. I do think it's a good idea that we get some sort of a request for information out on the street as it relates. I think we know, but who offers what in the homeless category? But for behavioral health, I think it is a good idea.
Yeah, I would say that probably.
I'm good. Well, I don't know that we need an RFI. We might need an RFP or an ITN or some sort of procurement. I mean, you think
And
there's-
RFI for homelessness.
Okay,
So
okay.
how about looking at that?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think, okay. And does that help you feel like you would try?
Yeah, I'm good. You guys good?
I'm good.
I'm sorry, did you have one more?
No, I mean,
I am down to one, and I appreciate you guys tolerating me. I'm thinking back through the strategic framework meeting that we had, and one thing that came out among many was this fact that we may be taking a more proactive role as a role of convener of providers in the community, with convening with other providers. And I didn't know if that rose to a level that we needed a separate line item in front programming to be able to help facilitate that. I'm not sure what the form looks like. I mean, if we're having meetings and we're just sitting here, there's no really incremental cost, but is there any cost of doing things structured as a convener?
So that can fall under two areas. The first one would be program research and analysis. We would do it under there. And the other would be under capacity building and technical assistance. In the executive director's report, I actually gave you all information on a Harvard cohort that I am a part of that is specifically talking about how we build that type of convening and continuum. And that will go to this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No, thank you for your clearly good questions because it prompted future discussion. Ms. Richards. Okay. I can throw an O in at the end of his name.
That was all.
I
mean, it's good.
Yeah. Mary Tyler Moore was Mary Richards. That's how that's like, yeah.
Sure, doesn't know about that.
You know about Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, wait,
Just stop everything you're doing tonight. You go home and I don't know how you get it. Turn the world off with a smile. Okay, and no other questions. So here's what we can do. Again, I don't have a preference, but my recommendation would be that we bring all of the proposed funding categories, millage rate categories to the full council for their consideration. So I have a motion and a second without objection, show that approved. Motion by Ms. Richards. A second by the other guy. Lou Grant. He seconded. I could have picked Ted Baxter.
Yeah, you could have done Telly Savalas.
I know, but the 70s are rushing back on us. Okay, next meeting agenda.
hold on a second. Yes, did you want to review? Or just have it for?
Yeah,
I included.
it didn't do quite what I was hoping it would do. Yeah, no, I know.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us to item 9, which is we did the review of the draft budget for 26, 27, and the millage rate all in one motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Although we are the next meeting agenda, be the standard roll call approval of agenda, public comment. I don't know that we have anything significant on the, that I'm anticipating, so, it will be a TBD, after that. Any, committee member comments? Very nice. Item 11 is, the adjournment. If I could get a motion that we adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second without objection. It's 2:00 and we are.